That was one of the dreams that I had. I was forced to correct my English in a proper way. Let's put it that way. I would never expect someone from Morocco would say something like that. Like, our country is the best country in the whole world, best food, best culture, best this, best that. Not every country is like Japan. But that's something I realized, and my mission was to actually tell the world, what these 47 prefectures have got. Japanese people do not get shocked by just having an earthquake. Just a British guy. So I don't have to meet him. It's like, just please meet him. It's like, fine. So then we met in the beginning with a collaboration with Chris, appearing in his video. I think that pulled quite strong attention from our viewers. Asian-looking guy, Japanese guy, speaking with a British accent. It was something that was fun.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cupful of Stories, where we share people's stories, their inspiring journeys and experiences. Today I have a very special guest with me, Mr. Ryotaro Sakurai. Sakurai-san, welcome to the podcast.
Good, thank you. Thank you for the invitation. It was amazing to...
Thank you for accepting my invitation.
No problem at all. It was, I was looking forward to it, so...
Thank you very much.
Nice.
Most of the viewers know who you already are, but for people who don't, how would you describe yourself?
I don't know. I've got quite a few aspects of myself, describe myself, I guess. But so I think the many of you who already know me, I think you know me as a YouTuber, promoting that lesser known part of Japan. That's one thing I do, to promote the places that you guys don't know about Japan. And then the other aspects, like I'm wearing a suit today. I actually I do own a company that actually promotes the lesser part of the area, but not as a YouTuber, but like as a project management.
Side business.
Exactly. No, that's the main business. I'm just a YouTuber. It's like maybe only like 20% of what I do, really. So.
I see. That's a great introduction.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack, but first of all, I want to go a little bit back in time.
Sure.
I watched your TED Talk, and during
that's a long time ago. It's
like
2017, something like that.
皆さんこんにちは。ちょっと足りないな。こんにちは。ありがとうございます。
And during your TED Talk, you mentioned that you were born and raised near Sanjomachi area.
Yes, I was just right next to the town.
Yeah, and that place is where most or the majority of foreign, international students come to study at Tohoku University. They choose that place as the first place for their academic life. And I lived there for 1.5 years. Do you recall any fun memories there?
Well, fun memories. How it started was that some of my friends were doing, there are some, not hills, but they're just hills, really, between apartments, right? So my friends were actually doing a skateboarding there.
Oh.
Yeah, junior high school students, right?
Wow.
Teenagers. They were skateboarding at the university. How's it called again? University House?
University House,
yeah,
International.
So international, yeah. So they were doing that. So then, not only the students, but there were many professors live in apartments, right?
Yes, that's correct.
With the family. So my friends met those sons and daughters of those professors. They're all teenagers as well, but they couldn't speak a word of English. So they came to me and said, I met these guys, but couldn't speak a word with them. I thought you were good at English. Can you come with me?
Wow.
That was the very beginning of it. But in addition, I was not good at English at all. But I was just a little bit better than the other, that was it.
I see. That's interesting. Yeah, so your journey actually began at the age of 14 when attending high school in Seattle.
Yeah, 15. Yeah.
15. And then followed by that you went to England, then Germany, then Australia. And I want to, if it's okay to talk about each of these experiences.
Sure.
For example, your mission to go to the US to experience the American dream, wearing a tuxedo, going to prom. Did that dream come true?
Oh yeah, it did actually. I mean, that was one of the dreams that I had. That's only one of them. And let me just tell you some others. To sit down on the chair with the table all like stick together. But that's something that does not exist in Japan, right?
Yeah.
And then go to a school that does have a cheerleaders and baseball team and a football team at the same time. And well, of course, like a football team, right? And football is a quite big thing in the States. And I wanted to not that I wanted to join the team, but I wanted to cheer, in a match, right? In a game. That's something like I saw a lot of times in movies.
And you participated with some matches?
Of course I did, of course. Well, but not match, I participated to watch.
To watch,
Yeah.
not to play.
Not at all, no.
I see.
They're too big.
The football team at my high school, they were tough.
Yeah. Following Seattle, you decided to go all the way to England, to London. And I wonder, like I'm asking myself, what drew you to London? Why didn't you stay in the US?
Oh, it's just I just wanted to see the other parts of the world. And then I had like only a few choices, but there were only some countries that do speak English and accept American credits that I had in my high school, right? And again, I was just looking through all the college dictionaries or university dictionaries, whatever, at the Career Center, and I just found some, like say 5 or 6 universities that would accept American credits, high school credits, and then that university I went was one of them.
You did your undergraduate studies there in London?
Yeah, bachelor, yeah.
Bachelor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. And that's how you got the English accent.
Well, I was forced to correct my English in a proper way. Let's put it that way.
He's really cute, and I really like him, and he's got a British accent.
Yeah, I see.
I immediately after I moved there, and people started telling me to stop saying man, like what's up man, and then stop saying things like like fries,
Yeah,
and chips, right?
fries
In
and
a proper
chips.
way, stuff like that.
Yeah, we were influenced by American and Hollywood movies.
Exactly. It's not Subway, it's Underground or Tube.
This is the London Underground.
After London, you went to Germany. What was the reason for you to go to Germany?
Well, like back in the time in the States, right? When I went to the States for the first year, my not dream, but like my mission was to be able to speak Spanish and German.
Wow.
Besides English, of course.
Oh.
And so the only language that they had in my high school was Spanish. So then I took Spanish for my first year of my stay in America. So
Yeah.
Spanish 101, right? 102, 201, 202, 301, 302. Then I ended my bachelor with a degree called Bachelor of Arts, majoring in international business with Spanish. That's the title of my major.
With Spanish in the US?
With Spanish, not in Spanish, but with Spanish, right? So I had to take another language besides English and Japanese, your mother tongue. So what I left in the States was to learn German, right? And I couldn't do that in Big Britain either. So I actually made my dream come true, going to Germany and then, speak the language.
I see. That's very interesting. And you still, for this day, speak Spanish?
Well, Spanish I do, but German, I haven't, I don't know, it's just that I don't, if you don't speak, right? If you don't practice, you just lose it.
Yeah.
So, I went to Switzerland a few years ago, and I was able to order food and stuff, but just so many things I forgot. But I need to recover it somehow.
I see, that's very interesting. After Germany, you decided to go to Australia for 1 year on a working holiday. So how was that experience for you?
That was, having lived in 3 English-speaking countries, right? The States, and then UK, and Australia was something that actually impressed me in many ways. That because each country had its own culture, history, English, of course, and food, everything. So in Australia, to wrap up my career in foreign countries, abroad was I thought it was really great because I was able to speak English fluently by the time I got to Australia. So I found myself a job really easily, and then being able to speak Japanese and English, everything, right? Yeah. So I was the only one Japanese person in the whole company. So I got influenced by Australian accent. So so if you hear my accent, it's all like a mixture. It's just a mixed up accent with the American, British, and also Australian, Aussie.
Well, he's Japanese.
I'm Japanese,
but he thinks he's British.
Oh, I am. What do you think?
That's exactly what we sound like in the UK.
Do I sound like a pop?
Yeah, and during your TED Talk, you also mentioned the story, and it caught my attention, where a friend of yours from Morocco, he was talking about what makes
Ahmed.
Morocco special. Yeah, and in a lack of response, you simply said, well, Japan has Toyota and Honda. How did that, or has that response changed since?
That response from whom? Like the others?
For you, do you think Japan is getting...
Okay, of course, attention.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, just talking about Ahmed, my university friend, not that I only had not been to Morocco, but I would never expect someone from Morocco would say something like that. Like, our country is the best country in the whole world, best food, best culture, best this, best that. I was gonna say oh, you only got desert.
Guess who's back like a boomerang, sitting on the throne like I'm the King Charlemagne. When I bring the bass, I come to shake the house. Keep my whole team out your mouth. that was that was kind of the impression I had. Maybe mint tea.
Yeah.
Right? But and also maybe I don't know, like carpet.
Yes.
That was the only thing I ever had. But then but just having talked to him, he showed me a lot of things I didn't know about Morocco, and that he actually made me want to go to Morocco. And that was the thing. That was that actually impressed me the most. And so then I realized that there are so many things I did not know back then, and which I should show to the world what I had and known about Japan. And now in 2025, that there are so many things that not only things, there's so many things that the world started to realizing that we have in Japan. In Japan, that's what I do as well. But that actually gave me a lot of pride. Let's put it this way, because back then, again, Toyota, Honda, Sony, and stuff like that. I mean, people thought that Nokia was Japanese brand as well. But anyway, just put it that way. Put it out aside. These Japanese brands that everyone knew was the only things that people knew. Maybe Geisha, Ninja, people that didn't exist, right? Ninja, no, there was a Geisha still exists, but anyway. Nowadays, people know about Shibuya crossings, people know about Kabukicho, people know about a lot of places, a lot of restaurants in Kyoto, which I don't know about. And then people even go to Hokkaido, Kyushu, all these places. I mean, thanks to SNS, they share the photos and movies and everything, and that would make other people realize that what we've got, and then they all come. So that is totally different from, back in those days that people only knew about Toyota, Honda, Sony.
Yes, thanks for sharing that. Japan is really very advanced in all aspects. It's amazing country.
Yeah, I mean, it's been said that to become a country that the tourism becomes an industry, you need 4 things. One is culture, another is history, and then climate and nature. There are 4 factors, right, that would make the country very touristic. And then, as you actually see it, as a third-person point of view about Japan, yes, we do have those 4 things. And then the country that has got the biggest number of tourists in the whole world doing what it is, you know where?
I need an answer, Wilbur.
France.
and then followed by the States, and followed by Spain.
I see.
And then China, Italy, and all that. So, and if you look at those countries, France, yes, they have these 4 things, right? Like culture, history, and then climate and nature. Spain does, the States does.
Yeah.
So looking at that, looking at all the big ones, I think in Japan, I think will attract a lot more tourists in the future that I can maybe assure.
Japan's popularity as an international travel destination continues to rise. The number of foreign visitors hit an all-time high last year.
Traveling abroad and studying abroad as a teenager and as a young adult must have been very challenging for you. So, in your opinion, like what were the biggest culture shocks you have ever faced abroad?
Ladies first.
So, ladies first and all that sort of thing.
So that is the first thing. I mean, we're at the age of 15. I mean, you know, barely. You have your first girlfriend or not. That's kind of age, right? I just had, like, at least I had no idea about what lady first saw or was. You know, opening every single door. When you see a door and when you see a woman, and that's what you think first thing you do. It's like open the door. Car's door, shop's door, restaurant's door, any door.
All kind of doors.
Any kind of door.
You walk up, you open the door and you say...
Manners,
Yes.
etiquette to ladies who are so different.
They were a
had no
bit
idea.
new to you that time.
Yeah, so new.
I see.
I'm pretty sure like that would be still new to many Japanese still like here now.
And how about these days? Do you open the door first?
I try. And so I first of all ask where you're from, right? And then if that person is not Japanese, I'll open the door.
I see.
Can you speak Japanese?
You traveled to many countries, you met diverse people, you made a lot of international friends, and you gained a lot of experiences and new perspectives. Yet you decided to come back to Japan after visiting all these countries with a mission to give back to the community and especially to the Tohoku region. And that's what led you to the creation of Life Bridge. So can you share with us its vision and the impact your company has made since its establishment?
All right, so I mean, the reason I decided to come back to Japan was actually I was having an identity crisis. Because I mean, imagine when you leave your country at the age of 15, and then spend 10 years abroad, and then you speak English or sometimes German all the time, and then when your friends were going to universities, having fun with girlfriends and everything, right? It's like then I was without internet. That was a whole because it was like almost like a, how you say it, like without any kind of information shared what's happening in the outside world, like in Japan, right? I didn't know anything, and they didn't know anything about what I was doing. So the music, anything, right? I didn't know the food even. So at the 10th year in Australia, I came back to Japan, say during the summer holiday or something, and I realized that I wasn't half Japanese anymore. Like I was half Japanese and then half I wasn't. I belonged to somewhere else. I realized just talking to my friend that some like etiquette, for instance, or manners, or the norm, or anything that I thought was normal was not normal here.
Wow. Yeah,
So
10
then,
years.
Yeah, 10
it's
years.
a long time.
It's a decade, right? So then, then I realized I was having an identity crisis. I did not call that as identity crisis, but then back then I think thinking about it, it was an identity crisis. That actually made me decide that I needed to become Japanese again. So that's what made me come back to Japan.
Some of you who have watched my previous video know that I left Japan when I was 15 and then came back when I was 26. So when I came back to Japan, I realized there were so many strange cultures and norms in this country.
And how about your company, the Life Bridge?
Okay, so I spent 5 years since I came back at the banking industry. And while I was living in Tokyo, I came back to Sendai all the time in Tohoku area, and then I actually driving around, Akita or Mori, all these places, and sometimes saw the festivities, and then I went to some like touristic areas and like beautiful nature, whatever, and then realized that what we have, the countryside, regional part of Japan actually is very attractive enough to attract foreign tourists. Not only like Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, but the other parts of Japan. As you know, like you might already know that we have 47 prefectures. And then when you say that I'm going to say Yamagata, and what people tell you is, oh, try eat this one. Try soba or try ramen. When you go to Yamaguchi, I'll try the blowfish. Everyone will tell you something that you should try. And then people think this is like very normal in Japan, but it's not. Because I've already, I've talked to many people, for instance, like someone from the UK, and I was like, oh, so when you go to Manchester, what do I have to eat?
Fish and chips and so on.
Brighton, maybe like fish and chips, but London as well, right? So I mean, something like that. Not every country is like Japan. But that's something I realized that so every prefecture has its own characteristics. Own culture, own food, own nature, own climate. Climate is everywhere, right? But so therefore, when I decided to like open up my company or start my company, my mission was to actually tell the world, what these 47 prefectures have got, especially Tohoku area, because that's where I'm from, and that's where I decided to live in Tokyo and move there. So
yeah, you saw something special and you wanted to share it with the rest of the world. I see.
Correct.
Speaking of Tohoku, actually, last week marked 14 years since the March 11 earthquake.
On this day in 2011, the magnitude 9 quake triggered a massive tsunami, devastating wide areas across eastern Japan's Pacific coast. Over 22,000 people died or went missing. That figure includes deaths due to health problems or other complications related to the disaster.
And you've been known as an advocate for promoting the Tohoku region. And Tohoku is a place where was like hit by the disaster. So if it's okay and if you're comfortable sharing with us, where were you at that time and how did this experience impact you?
I was at an international school in Sendai. So I still remember, like I was just having a meeting with this the principal at the international school, Canadian guy, and his wife, also Canadian. And we were just having a meeting over something. I forgot what I was talking about. But then an earthquake started. But as you know, earthquake. Japanese people do not get shocked by just having an earthquake, because we have these degrees, right?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So when it's strong one, when the strong one comes, it's normally like at 4 max. So up until 4, we do not get shocked. We don't. It's not a surprise at all. It's like, oh, okay, earthquake, earthquake, oh fine. But then that day was different, right? It did not stop at 4. I mean, obviously, when I looked back at, later on, it was 7. So it was like 4 and 5 and 6, and it would not stop. And it was long. It was a long earthquake, a minute and a half or something. I don't know. I forgot. It's like just long earthquake. So then I still remember this telling everyone to go under the table, because that's how we educate. You get educated, right? When you get a strong earthquake, you need to go under the table. This table is too small anyway, but we all went under the table, and then I said, shit, this is strong, shit. So this Canadian principal and vice principal, they heard me saying shit was just scared them off so much. Japanese person saying shit to the earthquake, and someone that the people who are the most used to the earthquake saying shit.
Must have been very big one earthquake.
Yeah, and then soon after I said shit, and I heard all the glasses breaking. making sound. And then I started hearing the screams of the students, the international students who had many of them never like had experience of like earthquakes, like screaming. But thank God, like no one got hurt. So everyone had was able to evacuate to the earth outside and then to the ground, and they were all safe and everything. But they still tell me that shit was something.
The first time it was in Japan actually when I experienced the first earthquake. I was in the dormitory and I really didn't know what to do. So just my first intuition, just go under the table.
Just don't do anything, it's fine.
Yeah.
We don't do anything under earthquake. I mean, we're so sure about like natural disasters. I mean, tsunami, yes, we need to evacuate everything, but like volcano, chill. Just, we always get like the gift from the volcano, right? It's an onsen, right? It's a gift from a volcano. And we also chill, just because we have volcano, we have onsen. That's it.
Yeah. That's what it looks like in an onsen. And they're so nice. Absolutely beautiful.
Recently, I visited Fukushima on a tour given by Futaba Area Tourism Research Association. They are working on revitalization and inbound tourism.
Yep.
We met some of the locals. We went to the Memorial Museum in Futaba. And I can really say, I really admire the resilience of the Tohoku people. They are trying their best to breathe life back into their towns.
We're gonna rise up. We're gonna rise up higher than ever. Keeps getting better. We're gonna move on. We're gonna stand strong. Take on the pressure. Get through it together.
You've been recently to Fukushima?
Oh, just so many times.
On a helicopter?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
How was it? How was that experience?
That was quite an experience. I mean, that was the first time I think I got on a helicopter in my life, actually. We actually flew from Tokyo to Fukushima and then back. That view from a helicopter was something I never expected. You know what I mean? When you fly with an airplane, it's like really high, right? You're really high up there and you actually see Mount Fuji this way. But like, when you're on the helicopter, you are kind of higher than Skytree, but like lower than the airplane. That angle is quite a view. It's like I was amazed by that.
Yeah, I saw your picture on Instagram.
Oh yeah. That was it. It was like Skytree right in front of you. Yeah.
Yeah. I see. So yeah, I really urge foreign visitors to put Fukushima on their itinerary whenever they visit Japan, just to help with the efforts of revitalization.
I mean, now, as you may have seen in the video, that you can now enter into the Fukushima Daiichi power plant as a visitor, not as a researcher or anything, as a tourist.
Normal visitor, you can access.
You can, yeah.
It's safe to go there.
Oh, I mean, they made it safe somehow. So, you don't have to wear anything. You just just in case they put you on Geiger counter, and just to tell that it's safe, right?
I see.
And it was safe, yeah.
As soon as the tour starts, it was quite assuring to see just how seriously they are taking the safety of everyone within the cleanup zone. Each guest is equipped with a Geiger counter to track radiation levels and is requested to leave behind all the electronics such as camera, phones and smartwatches. Even Japan's greatest YouTuber couldn't convince them to let us film, but they were kind enough to provide this footage for us instead.
Speaking of foreign visitors, nowadays one of the biggest buzzwords on Japanese media and Japanese news is overtourism.
Japan's tourism boom has been a double-edged sword, significantly boosting the economy while simultaneously leading to overtourism that strains local communities and infrastructure.
Yet, the Tohoku region, with its 6 prefectures, only welcomes around 2% of the total visitor. So what is your take on that?
Well, the only place that went over touristic in Tohoku area was actually Ginza Onsen. It's been said that it was inspired Hayao Miyazaki on making what was that, the movie again?
Spirited Away?
That's it, Spirited Away, yes. So that actually went very touristic, almost over tourism. But otherwise, I don't really see any. Because I think that the people who come to Tohoku normally love nature, that they go for trekkings, they go for skiing. So they don't really go to like one place, like this, one specific place that becomes like at Kyoto, it's not like that. So I think the Tohoku will stay that way in a sense that people will enjoy skiing and I don't want the Tohoku to be like Niseko, but we have like a lot of ski resorts, it's winter resorts that would actually satisfy a lot of skiers and snowboarders. Especially like I think what is becoming popular right now is Hachimantai. Is becoming really popular, and also there are many. Talking about Fukushima. Fukushima has got many very nice ski resorts. I just went to the one in it's called Hoshino. Hoshino is a kind of brand, right? Of onsen, kind of ryokan brand. And Hoshino actually recently, not recently, but opened up a ski resort in Fukushima, in the Aizu area, and you should go there. It's really nice.
In your opinion, what do you consider a hidden gem in the Tohoku area that not many people visit or not many travel guides talk about?
Okay, onsen, definitely onsen. I just talked about Ginza Onsen. That's the most popular place. But looking around whole Tohoku area, we have hundreds. Not hundreds of ryokan, hundreds of onsen areas in Tohoku region. There are some famous ones, but if you just look close in the map, you will find many of them, and that many of them are not unknown, still unknown, and then no one will speak English to you. So make sure you got your Google translation with you, and then it might not work either because they have very strong dialect. But that's something, right? That is something that you look forward to communicate, to talk to the people who don't speak the language. This week, next week, I'm going to Uzbekistan, right?
Wow.
And Tashkent and also Samarkand. Uzbekistan, evening walk. Good evening, everyone. I'm still in the city called Samarkand in Uzbekistan. And the guidebook says that no one speaks English there. Not no one, but only a few people speak English there. And then they speak either Uzbek language or Russian.
Yeah.
And only 3 things I can say in Russian, which is hello, and that's nice, and thank you.
That's enough. It will work on most of the situation.
Exactly. I need to learn, I'm sorry, but anyway, yeah.
You speak Russian because you were Russian.
So we talked about overtourism, and we mentioned that, and we see with the increase of tourists coming to Japan, often we see on news some problems arise due to the lack of cultural awareness and respect. So in your opinion, what do you think a traveler coming to Japan, they should keep in their mind?
Well, just get used to it, that's it. You see a lot of news, especially with Chinese, for instance, having bad manners and stuff like that. But I always tell them that these Chinese people who does things that Japanese would not respect are those first timers. They just do things as they do, especially I see that quite often in Tokyo, that many Chinese tourists, they speak on the phone with a speaker mode.
I see.
Like this. That actually irritates Japanese people. No one in Japan does that.
Yeah, and the Chinese language is a bit high-pitched.
It's high-pitched, so you actually you hear it a lot. So, but obviously, they are not doing this on purpose. They just do it because they do it in China. right? But and I'm pretty sure that on the second time, third time, they realized that Japanese people would not do that. Then they stopped doing it. So it's something that, you know, the tourists, not only Chinese, of course, everyone will get used to. You know, then, you know, obviously, when you come to Tohoku area, like Sendai and this area, those are the repeaters, right? Those that who've been to Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, Hiroshima, Hokkaido, Kyushu, then they come to Tohoku. So by the time they get to Tohoku, they all know about these matters. So we're not so worried about that.
We are in the safe zone.
Yeah. So sorry Tokyo, sorry Osaka, sorry Kyoto, but Tohoku, I'm chill about that.
But in all seriousness, isn't it quite an extreme version that these small nuances play an important role in Japanese culture? When you get on a train and if it's quiet, maybe you should be quiet as well. Or if someone looks uncomfortable talking to you, maybe you should hurry up and leave them alone. And don't be like Chris and read the air.
You always share on like your YouTube some recommendations, some travel tips, and some hidden gems. So I'm wondering what motivated you to start YouTube?
Oh, just as having to kill time during the COVID. I'm pretty tied up, so that's why I'm pretty busy right now. So I can't really like upload the video that frequently anymore. Like I do barely. I do like once a month now. But during the COVID, right? And obviously I just told you that maybe like YouTube as a business takes up only like 10 to 20% of my business I have. So but during the COVID, that other 80% like almost disappeared because, you know, things have stopped, right?
Yeah.
So then I was like, you know, I was just talking to Chris and everything. I was like, you know, Chris, what should I do? He was like, oh, just open up your channel. It's like, oh, fine. So I bought a camera, I bought a microphone, and I bought this and that, and I have a tripod, and I just started off. And I was like, you know, that's, well.
I see. That's very interesting. So yeah, like you mentioned, Chris, you collaborate with many people on YouTube, and one of the biggest name is Chris Broad. So how did you meet him?
That was in Sendai, long time ago, 2015, October probably, I think it was. We have a mutual friend, and then he actually called me up and say, I'm with the guy called Chris in Yamagata, in Sakata. He was still teaching English back then. And then I want to introduce you to him. I was like, fine. I was like, but he came to Tokyo, he came to Sendai one day, but I was busy that day, I couldn't go. But the guy, that friend, he actually forced me to meet him. I was like, you know, but you definitely have to meet this guy.
He's British.
Like, just a British guy. So I don't have to meet him. It's like, you know, just please meet him. I was like, fine. So then we met.
He will be amazed by your British accent.
Yeah, he was like,
good to be back in the UK. What a beautiful, stunning winter morning. This is Japan. This is Ryotaro Japan.
Oh. It's quite rare, if you actually think about it, to, especially like not in Tokyo, right? Especially like when you're in Sendai or like a regional part or the rural part of Japan, to find a guy speaking English with British accent. That is quite rare because if you take a look at like the people speaking English in Japan, they're mostly female, aren't they?
Yes.
Right, when you actually being a foreigner here. So male speaking English is already rare, and with a British accent, it's like, no way, who's this guy? So actually, I think that in the beginning, with the collaboration with Chris, appearing in his video, I think that pulled quite a strong attention from our viewers, because my viewers as well, like in 30-something%, that the biggest percentage is taken by American viewers. So Asian-looking guy, Japanese guy speaking with a British accent, it was something that was funny, I thought.
Very special.
Yeah, I think so.
So, like now I'm questioning myself, how would your life be different if you like haven't met Chris Broad?
I don't know. YouTube, I might have done that, but I'm not really sure. But it will be a lot later, because if I didn't meet Chris, I would meet someone else as well. I've met a lot of other YouTubers as well. So I think sooner or later I could have started it, but then it should be like a lot later. I'm talking about like 2020 or something. Like now, you know.
So he pushed you a little bit to start your YouTube earlier.
Oh, definitely. I mean, obviously looking at
the way that he filmed in the beginning, and very small things, small techniques, like order, all the things that orders, you take intro at the end, for instance, having filmed everything, and then you decide a title and you film the intro at the last. So actually, so it makes the intro very efficient in the way that you can actually summarize what you just filmed, right? So stuff like that,
Nice.
I was maybe telling some secret.
YouTube secrets.
Secrets yet to be revealed.
Yet to be, oh my God. I'm terrified.
Apart from being a CEO, a YouTuber, you also have a vacation villa in Zao, and you also run a restaurant in Akiyu. So, and looking at your Instagram, like you're always on the move. I see some days like a morning walk in Hokkaido followed by an evening walk in Okinawa.
Yeah, I did
How
that.
do you manage all that? And what is your secret?
Just fly. How do I manage? I fly. But I just, I get invitation from all these cities or prefectures or whatever, just to talk about tourism, really, inbound tourism, how to attract foreign tourists. Not as a YouTuber, of course, but I mean, not only as a tutor, but just as a consultant. How to sell the products, how to create the products. For instance, I mean, I think some of you already know that I run a kind of tool, Iwafune explosion experience.
Oh.
Yeah, the explosion experience is that it just takes place at the where they've been filming those Power Rangers for the last 50 years. So it's always been the same place. So what we do is we have our participants and in front of the explosion person, the place, and we explode it. So that what you do is you can take photos and movies and with a real explosion behind the real place. Wow. We have gasoline with the napalm explosion and cement explosions, 3 explosions per time. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's been quite an experience or activity that's been really popular for the last 3 years we've been running it. So we got 20% of the participants are being foreign.
I see, and you do this very often.
Every month.
Wow.
Yeah.
And in which place do you?
Tochigi Prefecture.
Tochigi Prefecture.
Yeah. Explosion experience.
All right, before we wrap it up, I always ask my guests to say something in their native language. So I would appreciate if you can say something in Japanese, but with the Sendai dialect.
Oh, okay. What should I say?
The stage is yours.
Oh, wow. Okay. ¿Abrazo en español? No, it's not Spanish, right? It's your mother tongue. I don't know, it's with dialect.
If you can.
This
would be something very rare to see.
That is it's a lot harder than speak English. To speak English was yeah, いつでも東北に来たら遊びに来てね。待ってます。I wasn't dialect. Just ordinary Japanese, but I was like, oh yeah, let's go. Expect. That's high. That's the only thing I guess.
Easy peasy Japanese.
お疲れ様でした。
ありがとうございます。
Sakurai-san, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. It's been an absolute honor and pleasure having you on Cupful of Stories podcast.
Thank you. You're amazing. すごいですね about your podcast. Yeah, so looking forward to seeing myself, hearing myself.
Thank you very much. All right, to everyone watching or listening, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay tuned for more amazing stories. If you have any thoughts, feedback, or suggestions, drop them in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you. And remember, every story has the power to inspire. What's yours? Till then, see you next time.
Subscribe. And good.
You really do want to kill me, don't you?
No, I never said that. Did I?